Yes, hello everyone, Fáilte Ashkely, Cúilín Media. Life is good. We have a full house and a bumper weekend of Gaelic Games action to look forward to this weekend. Action from all the divisions in all four codes. For the first time all year, lads, we have four codes to look into. We've done a lot of planning in terms of how we're going to move this episode along, or else we're cooked. We're going to be here for the whole night. But plenty to get through. Aaron, how are you keeping?
Yeah, absolutely. Going well, Seamus. Looking forward to getting into the weekend's games and this absolute mammoth of an episode. There's obviously a lot of big games this weekend, especially for my own county, like Dublin, Kerry, Dublin, Wexford. Obviously, the double header on Croke Park, so I'll be looking forward to that. And we've a lot to go through. So yeah, anyone who's tuning in, hit the like button, subscribe if you could, and yeah, let us know your predictions and your thoughts ahead of this weekend's games.
Absolutely. We have a few questions being fired in by Peter Griffin, our good friend, back on the show. Good to have you with us, Peter. If you are new here, follow the example. Get involved in the live chat. Let us know your thoughts on the weekend's action. Matthew, how are you keeping? Obviously, Cork on the up and up in the league so far.
Yeah, going well. To be fair, we haven't played the bigger opposition as of yet, but no, Corby previews this week have been a lot more fun considering we are going very, very well, and hopefully the fans come out in Parky Green and support the team on Sunday because they absolutely deserve it, winning 3 games. And obviously enjoyed the Star Sport podcast this week. Enjoyed being on We Are Mead with Davy Rispin. Obviously my yearly appearance on that podcast. But yeah, it's life's good. With Cork footballers this present moment of time, and hopefully we'll continue this weekend.
Absolutely. So, and Liam, just one of the questions that I'll highlight there before we move in. Just some chat on the managers. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen the Smaller Fish GA, Colin Parkinson posted it about John Maher and Diarmuid Murtagh doing their bit of media. Seems like the shackles are loosening a bit. The GPA is also talking about it. For me, this is only a good thing for the game. I can understand the viewpoint of a manager that thinks you don't want a player to put their foot in their mouth. You don't want a player to say anything that can rile up the opposition and potentially get quoted and everything like that. But all in all, this is a good thing for the game, no?
Yeah, absolutely. No, look, I have the benefit of knowing a lot of, obviously the Offaly players or whatever, and I know a few other intercounty players as well from chatting to them over the years, whatever, like Adam English last weekend, say I've seen him down in UL a couple of times. And I think it's a good thing that they're allowed to maybe express themselves. And, once they get a bit of media trained, they're allowed to show a bit of personality as well. Even in when I was interviewing Adam Screeney and English last weekend, at the Fitzgibbon finals, as much as like they were speaking well to me, it was kind of when I put the microphone then away, they're almost really excited, and they're bubbly and all that. And I love seeing that from players, showing off a bit of character, a bit of personality. I sound like Roy Keane saying that. But, I actually don't think there's anything wrong with it, to be honest with you. And I think sort of the days of maybe players giving something away in an interview or something like that are sort of gone now because of they have a growing presence on social media as well. So no, I'm a big fan of it. Obviously, look, players are not going to give everything away, or they're not going to say anything that is going to land them in trouble or anything. But no, for me, positive move, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it maneuvers over the next while.
Absolutely. Well, let's get straight into the games because as we were talking about, we have a lot to get through. We're basically going to run around the roulette wheel, and Aaron's having a game, then Matthew's having a game, then Liam's having a game, and so on. I'm going to lead the questions. But lads, by all means, if you have any questions about any of the games, and anyone watching in the comments, if you have any questions about the games or anything in particular you'd like us to analyze, drop them in our live chat. So starting off, Aaron, you're first up, and what a game you have here to look ahead to. Dublin v Kerry, Saturday at 7 p.m. in Croke Park. First of all, are you going to this one?
I am, absolutely, yeah. I'll be in Croke Park for both games, so I'll be there for the double header. I have the season ticket. I've only used it for one game so far, so I better start using it properly. Well, I used it for 2 games, to be fair, with the hurlers. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this game, to be fair. It's going to be very interesting to see, I suppose, first of all, what Kerry team plays in Croke Park, and whether they go with their strongest team and their strongest players in terms of, does David Clifford play, does Sean O'Shea play? Look, it's going to be tough for Dublin. There's no doubt about it. I think most people will back Kerry to win this game, and I wouldn't disagree with that. Look, I do think Kerry will win this game as well. I think when you look at the way Dublin's defence was getting cut open time and time again versus Monaghan. You could imagine David Clifford, Tony Brosnan, even Keith Evans, if he's playing, some of the younger lads, like they'll cut Dublin's defence inside and out and inside and open. Look, the positive for me from a Dublin perspective is that I do think we've been good at working goal chances so far under Ger Brennan. We did it very well in pre-season. I know we've only scored, I think, 3 goals in 3 games, but we are creating a lot of chances. We're creating a lot of opportunities. And you saw Joe Quigley's goal. You saw some of the goals versus Mayo. And then you counteract that with how vulnerable Kerry defensively looks towards the end of the Galway game, how Galway just run through them and cause them problems. And obviously Kerry are missing some big defenders. So that's the area where I think maybe if we can get a couple of goals, if we can run at them, then we have a chance. But at the same time, we're not scoring enough in terms of points either. Like, we're not averaging enough. As you look at what Armagh scoring as an example, you look at what Roscommon scoring, then you look what Dublin are scoring. Like, we scored 9 against Mayo, 17 the last day versus Monaghan. So yeah, I think all in all, as much as I would want to see Dublin win this, I think it probably is a bridge too far. And I think Kerry, overall, their quality is too strong. So I probably would go with them to win this by 5.
Yeah. It's one of those, again, we're looking at a potential situation where we're coming into another game as severe underdogs. Sean O'Malley here saying could be like 2009, Kerry thrive in Croke Park. Peter also saying Kerry by 8. Peter here saying Dubs should take them to Parnell Park, tight pitch and crowd.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd be interested there about that one?
Yeah, like I'd be all for it, but again, it's just the age-old problem that Parnell Park only holds 8,000, 9,000. So, more people would want to go to see Dublin versus Kerry. Do you know what I mean? I think if again it goes back to that old debate, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but if Dublin had a stadium, a Gaelic football stadium that held 30,000, 40,000. Happy days, 20,000. You know what I mean?
Not only that, but our early championship games would be there too.
100%. And look, most Dublin fans would be all for it, but yeah, like they can't extend Parnell Park because it's on a housing estate. So it's just, it is what it is. It's in Croke Park, and yeah, that's just how it goes, I suppose.
Yeah. Daniel Jack Quigley here says Gavin White is a big miss. Kerry balling in the league. Probably won't see him till Munster. Gig Cuddy here saying, like you say, Aaron, if Dublin give up the same goal chances as against Monaghan, Kerry will put them to the sword. All of the comments are bang on, lads. Peter here saying, if I was the Dubs gaffer, I would play all home league games there. Sean saying that argument about Parnell doesn't wash with me. They play bigger hurling championship games there and club finals. The reality is, just simply put, Sean, with the crowd, more football fans will go than hurling fans, and no matter what, like, a lot of Dublin fans know what holes in the wall you can hop through, what walls you can sneak in, everything like that. And there would be serious problems with how to manage the crowd as well. So the reality is that we need a bigger stadium than Parnell Park. Like, genuinely, imagine, Aaron, if they just did up that stand on the far side of Parnell Park, the one opposite where the trophy's lifted. Imagine they just did that up where the gantry is, and they just put in 10,000 there, made the stadium be able to hold 25,000. Then we're up and we're laughing, sure. Like, I'd be grand putting championship games in there because you'd get that kind of caged atmosphere and it would be unbelievable. Tom McGahan here saying fancy Kerry by 10 plus. It's interesting because it's only 2 years ago that Dublin battered Kerry in the league game in Croke Park. Conor O'Callaghan scored a hat-trick and everyone was talking about Dublin running away with the All-Ireland after that game. But yeah, I think it's one of those games, especially that we're in transition. I think it's one, if I'm being honest, I think we probably will lose this one. I'd say we'll lose it by 4. If I had to, I don't know, what did you say, Aaron? Did you say 4 points as well?
I said 5.
Yeah.
But look, like, and there is an element of being hopeful a little bit with that. Like, it could be a lot more. I will say as well, like, even if Kerry don't have their best players playing, they're probably still going to win this game anyway. And that's just the sad reality of it.
Yeah, true. I feel like, Sean here saying that might change if the hurlers continue to improve. You can say the same about other counties who play in smaller grounds. Yeah, I do agree. Like, having bigger stadiums is just, it's the way to go if you want to get the Dubs playing at home. Shane O'Donnell here saying Kerry by 4. Like this is the type of game though where I could see Dublin having a bit of a bite back. And the reality is, if we lost to Donegal by 3, I think we won't lose to Kerry by much more. So I'm going to go Kerry by 4. But yeah, Matthew, your game then, the one that is assigned to yourself. Monaghan versus Mayo, Sunday at 1:45 p.m. in St. Tenoch's Park in Clonus. Monaghan in desperate need of a win now. Mayo fresh off the back of that defeat to Donegal on the road. Now they travel to Monaghan. Is this do or die for the Farney Army now?
To be honest, I could see no other result than Mayo winning, to be honest with you. I seen Monaghan against Dublin live, and on TG Car, I thought they were diabolical, to be honest. Well, both sides were, to be fair. I thought it was a terrible game of football. Like, there wasn't much quality in it. And as well as that, Monaghan scored 17 points. 16 of them were contributed by either Desi Ward or Micheál Bannigan. That's really, really concerning from a Monaghan point of view. I think there's not enough of a spread. Their goal taking was very, very poor the last day. Actually, when you look at two of these sides, they're 2 of the 3 lowest scorers in Division 1. Only Dublin are in that list as well. So I expect a low-scoring game. I expect Mayo will win this game, but I think it'll be by 5 points. Look, Mayo have done well, and I think Andy Moore's getting them on the right track, to be fair. But really, other than Ryan Donoghue and Dara Byrne, who, to be fair, scored 2-4 from play, there hasn't been much on the Mayo team that have stayed to claim. I know they have performed well, but maybe there's more of a team effort there from a Mayo point of view. Yeah, I'd probably go for Mayo to win it comfortably. It'll be 5 points. That what might seem like a close game, but I think it'll be comfortable, to be honest with you. Mayo will always have them at arm's length. And to be honest with you, look at Monaghan against Dublin the other night, I could see no other way where they're going but down back to Division 2, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Mayo will win this, and I think they'll win it comfortably enough.
Yeah. We have a very interesting question here from Peter. He says, Aaron, Seamus, what did you make of Wooly's comments about Ger needing to get the Dubs identity back? I haven't seen his latest ones, to be honest, but I have seen him talk about this before. I've seen him talk about how the Dubs should have a bit more swagger and should run and celebrate in front of the hill and everything like that, because that was part of why the Croke Park used to be packed out during the 2000s for those Leinster Championship games. And that is true. Dublin used to play a lot more of a Russian roulette style to their game. Like, they'd either win the most dramatic game ever, or they'd lose the most dramatic game ever, or they'd get hammered. Like, it was always that type where, like, even though Jim Gavin's team were dynamite, Aaron, jump in if you think I'm going too far here, but especially 2020 into 2021, our style of play became really, really boring. And it was all just retention of the ball, win a game by 4 points, get through to the next round. And it came back to bite us against Mayo in that semi-final of 2021 because we didn't put Mayo away when we had the foot on them. And we dominated the first half and only led by 4 points at half-time. Now, since then, we've kind of entered a weird part where we've been really inconsistent over the last 2 years, but we've kind of maintained that, being very humble on the pitch and everything like that. But like, the reality is like the crowds packed into Croke Park in the 2000s to watch, to be entertained. And I get that, like, look, it was the Celtic Tiger. A lot of people had a lot more money back then to spend on going to games and everything like that. And things weren't as expensive. We weren't in a cost of living crisis. But that kind of killer be killed style that Dublin had back then, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a comeback, especially if we're not going to win the All-Ireland this year, which I don't think we will. If we build for the future and be a little bit cheeky and a little bit entertaining, I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. Because, say, for example, Hillgate 2006, one of the most dramatic openings to a game I've ever seen in my life. Let's be honest, if that happened now, Dublin would just walk the other way. Yeah, they'd go to the other end of the field.
And I think, like, do you know, like, and I don't want to go into it too much, but I know, like, with the 2020s, with the way we were playing, kind of at the end of Jim Gavin, the start of Desi Farrell, like, one of the big issues with the new rules, that why Dublin are struggling to adapt to them so much, is because the 20s, the minors, the development squads, like, they were all playing the same way. So the fact that when a player came from a development squad or the 20s into a senior team, you know, like, they already were conditioned and playing that same style. But now they flipped the script. So now we have so many players that we're told that this is how you play, high percentage shooting and, shooting zones and keeping possession and all this crack. And now all of a sudden that's all out the window. And a lot of our players don't. Because you see a lot of time, a lot of Dublin players will get into good positions to shoot and then they'll just turn back. And it's like we get it, we get into good positions and sometimes we have the players to shoot, but we're just overthinking it. So we just need to come out of that mindset. We'll get there eventually, but it'll just take a bit of time.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Can I ask as well, Aaron, just very quickly before I go back to Matthew? Matthew gave his quick prediction for Monaghan Mayo. He said he can't see anything other than a Mayo win. Are you going on the same lines?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'd agree with Matthew there. I think it'll be comfortable win for Mayo.
And Matthew, it seemed to be pretty unanimous across the board. The Kerry are going to come to Croke Park and beat the Dubs. Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I think Kerry will win it. But what I will say, Dublin, if there's any game they're going to raise their game for, it is Kerry. And Kerry still have a lot of problems themselves.
I think it's going to be very much like this is going to be a boxing match of two boxers with no defense. This is just going to be going hammer and tongs. It could be the game of the weekend, to be honest. But anyway, Matthew, next game for yourself is the clash of the Connacht men, Galway against Roscommon, Saturday at 7 p.m. in Pearse Stadium. Roscommon have really got a pep in their step now. Galway obviously got that win against Armagh the previous week out. And last weekend, obviously, came a little bit unstuck. Got the draw against Kerry. They seem to be getting better. But have they been getting better at the pace that Roscommon have been getting better? And can Roscommon turn them over, even though it's in Pearse Stadium?
Look, Roscommon are probably in better form and they're performing very, very well, to be fair to them. Galway, to be fair, against Kerry, they showed without Robert Finnerty contributing as much. Like, they still got a good result against Kerry. Like, Rob Finnerty only contributed to 1 point against Kerry the last. What he had was an assist. I don't think he scored at all. And Damien Comer wasn't playing. Shane Walsh wasn't playing. That's a real positive from a Galway point of view. I think Shane McGrath really performed well as a wing forward. Obviously, had Matthew Tierney there as well, performed very well from midfield. Roscommon are absolutely flying though, and I know we praised them in the last kind of preview show, but we kind of backed against them, said Armagh would beat Roscommon. But to be fair, like, that was under the impression Armagh are a decent side, but Roscommon, Dara Craig, Dermot Murta, Enda Smith, they're absolutely flying up front. Dermot Murta is the top scorer from play and overall in the league so far. Ahead of I know David Clifford played a game less, but to be fair, you still have to score what you can, and he's been absolutely sensational, Dermot Murta, so far. You have Dara Craig, who's like a revelation this year, who's always had potential, but he's absolutely brilliant this season. And Enda Smith there as well. It's strange under Roscommon. You had the likes of Niall Daly quitting the panel. You had other players there as well. Obviously, Donny Smith, obviously retiring in the off season, and he thought Roscommon were going downward, if anything. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Mark Dow coming in, and you were kind of thinking this is an underwhelming appointment, but many people probably didn't realise he's done a lot of work inside Roscommon, inside the clubs. Maybe that's what Roscommon needed, a kick up the backside, if you wanted a better term. But to be fair, they've done well. Roscommon, Galway have done better in another way, in fairness, in grinding out results. Like against Armagh, they should never have won that game, but they did somehow in the Athletic grounds. They salvaged a draw against Kerry when it looked all doom and gloom. So that is a positive, I think, from a Galway point of view, when Shane Walsh isn't about. This is a very close one to call. I'm going to say Galway. I'm going to back them at home, but it's going to be very, very close by a point. But knowing Roscommon's forward at this present moment in time, I wouldn't be shocked if they eat my words. And to be fair, I wouldn't back against them because they've been absolutely sensational so far. But you just feel like home advantage might be key for Galway to get over the line here.
But that's the one thing that is important to note. As good as Roscommon have looked, they've been in the hide for both of those games. Now, if you're talking about an away day that Roscommon have a lot of experience, going away to Galway or going away to Mayo is probably their next best things. But we've plenty of good comments in here. Gavin O'Reilly. Gavin, I'd love to get your take on this game, who you think is going to win, obviously as a Roscommon man yourself. But he says, I'm really fascinated if we see some Bridges players or if they're slowly introduced. I'd be very interested in that as well. And then if they're brought back for this one, how are they used? How is Ben O'Carroll used? How is Rory Fallon used? How is Brian Stack used? Sean here saying this will be a good game. Galway look better than I thought at the start of the league. The Rossies, for me, seem to have the new manager bounce like we've seen before and always fire this time of the year. I will back the Rossies for this one. Peter here saying Peter Canavan made the point on League Sunday that Joyce's biggest challenge will be picking the starting 15. Raymond Galligan, of course, the new Galway coach. It's very, very, very interesting addition there. Shane here saying Galway by 3 points would not surprise me if Monaghan win. Kid Cuddy saying surprised to see Roscommon thriving and us, Monaghan, struggling after we hammered them in the league final last year. Yeah, we discussed that, as in what exactly have Roscommon done differently to Monaghan that mean that Division 2 final now feels like a long time ago. Matthew has gone with a Galway win. Aaron, are you on the same wavelength, or are you going to differ here?
I'm actually going to differ. I'm actually going to back Roscommon, to be honest with you. I think Galway's a weird one. Like, Galway have been excellent towards the end of the games, and they've shown a lot of promise and positivity. But there's also been large parts of their games as well where they've looked very poor. And I think with Kerry, they were missing a lot of their bigger players. They didn't have a huge amount of options to come off the bench. I think most teams in that scenario would have been able to finish Galway off, and wouldn't have made the errors defensively in those kind of scenarios. So I just think Roscommon with the way that they're playing, Matthew alluded to some of the players and how well they're playing. I think they'll do it. Like, it won't be by much. I think there'll be 2 or 3 points in it. And obviously with this being in the west of Ireland and the weather and everything else, there's going to be strong winds, and don't be surprised if Galway maybe have an 8-point lead and then Roscommon come back, or vice versa. But no, I think the Rossies will do it by 2.
I think it all depends whether Galway can get to grips with that dynamic duo now up front that Roscommon have with Diarmuid Murtagh and Dara Craig. If they can get to grips with that and kind of curb Enda Smith's influence, obviously easier said than done. But then it's the added element, as Gavin was saying. What if the Bridges lads come back in and Ben O'Carroll tears it up? Like, there's a lot to be positive about from a Roscommon perspective going into this one. I'm actually going to chicken out of this one a little bit because I seen that Gavin threw in that he expects Roscommon to lead going down the home stretch and Galway to pull them back for a draw. I think that's very likely. I think a draw in this game for me is what I'm going to go with. But as a gesture, just to make up for going for the draw and kind of taking the easy way out, I'll lead the way on this one. Armagh versus Donegal, Sunday at 3:45 p.m. in the Athletic Grounds. Now, at the beginning of the league campaign, when we did our predictions in the studio, I bravely or stupidly, whichever way you want to look at it, whichever way it finishes out, I said Armagh were a surprise entry for me as my pick to go down. Now I just looked at it, we were talking in the preview about key players like Rory Grugan being missing, Rian O'Neill being missing, Stephen Campbell retired, big players that are now no longer in the side. And I said that just in a couple of those key games, I highlighted the Monaghan one that they might lose and things like that they may slip under with something like 6 points because I thought the division was going to be really tight this year. They won that first game against Monaghan comfortably. Since then, back-to-back defeats in games where they might have expected to get more out of it. Like, if you told them that they'd have 0 points from those 2 games, I think they would have been a bit surprised. Coming into the Donegal game, I think Donegal will want to kick them closer to relegation. I really think just that rivalry between the two of them, I don't think McGuinness has taken his foot off the gas at all in this one. And I think if Donegal are in good form, which they are, coming into this one, I think full steam ahead for one more round. I think Donegal shade a very, very tense game and push Armagh a little bit closer. Aaron, I'll go to you first. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree with you, actually. I'm actually going to go for Armagh to win this game. And look, I think the note, like with Armagh, even though Armagh have lost 2 games, it's been a weird one. Like, I don't think Armagh have played that badly, to be honest with you. Like, having watched the game back versus Roscommon, like, obviously in the first half, look, there's no getting away from it. McGeaney said it himself. They were brutal, like, in the first half, and they were really, really poor. But when you actually look at what they're scoring, like, they finished the game with 24 points. The last day versus Galway, they finished with 20 points. The big thing for Armagh has just been goals. And for whatever reason, like, they didn't want to go for goals versus Galway. And then against Roscommon, they had multiple goal chances and the ball just didn't want to go on the net. Even when they did get a goal, it was then ruled out for a breach, which was the right decision, to be fair. I think they've been a little bit unlucky, Armagh, in some decisive moments. I think they've been a little bit unfortunate. I do think Roscommon as well are, as we've seen, a very good side. And going away to Roscommon and losing, I don't think is a big shame. And look, I just think with Donegal, like Donegal have been beating Armagh so much over the last couple of years in big games. And if there's ever a game in the Athletic Grounds for the Armagh players to get up for, it's this one, to be honest with you. And you see how agitated McGeeney has been in his press conferences recently. Like, I think he's going to have the players absolutely fired up. And I don't know, there is a part of me as well that feels, don't be surprised if McGuinness just leaves a few of the big dogs at home, just because I don't think he'll want to give too much away. A bit like what we saw when Jack O'Connor's Kerry went down to Donegal, like not playing David Clifford and everything else. So, look, I think Armagh might just nick it, maybe by 2 or 3.
Well, again, the comments are absolutely split. Peter said Donegal by 10, which is a very, very bold prediction. Sean saying he's shading it to Armagh. Shane O'Donnell saying he's going with Donegal by a point. Very good comment in here from Gavin. He says, I really liked Aaron and Seamus's ideas and differences on how this game might go. I'd agree with Aaron. Jimmy might play mind games. It's going to be really, really interesting. And for sure, we're all going to be tuning into this one. Like, for sure, we're all going to be tuning into this one. Matthew, it's 1-1. What are you expecting from this one? Armagh or Donegal?
First of all, you said everybody will be tuning in. I won't be. I'll be up in the Parky Ring. But we'll leave that. I agree with Aaron. I think Armagh will win it, because I think Donegal don't need to win it necessarily. They have other games. They could still get to a league final. There's time to recuperate. From an Armagh point of view, they need a win just to galvanise a bit of confidence. And as one of the comments, I think the Gaelic guys' comments actually was very, very good, to be fair. And I looked at the stats there. They're scoring a lot of points. 1-pointers in particular, Armagh. They aren't scoring 2-pointers, and they're not scoring goals either. And they're conceding goals down the other end. That is Armagh's problem. I think if they're a lot more ruthless, I think they could put Donegal to the sword this Sunday. And again, like Aaron said about Jim McGuinness, if there's one game he wants to lose, it's probably this weekend. And look, Armagh need to find their goal scoring touch sooner rather than later. They have to do so just before championship kicks off as well. I think the elements are there. The performance levels are there. The performances from individual players are there. The likes of Ross McQuillan and Callum O'Neill, they are there. Jardy O'Burns in particular as well. It's just about getting the key scores at the key times. I think this might be the weekend where they start to click. I think Armagh will win this game. I think it'll be about 2 or 3 points.
It's always tense between these teams. Like, even there, when you were talking, Aaron, about the games that Armagh have lost that have hurt them in the past, I'd say even last year's league game hurts. The way it went with Murphy coming back on the field and Aidan Forker headbutting him and getting sent off, and Donegal winning a game that felt bigger than just a league game. I'd say that's on their mind as well. But Matthew, I'm going to bat the ball straight back to you on this one, because your home county's involved, and it is also, in my opinion, the most important game in Division 2 this week. Round 4, the clash of Cork and Meath, Sunday at 2 p.m. in Porky Rin. You're going to this one yourself, you said. Are you nervous? What are you expecting from it?
It's a weird kind of a feeling, to be honest. Normally you'd be nervous about getting results because you need points on the board, but we're on 6 points now. Meath are on 6 points as well. Davy Rispin said during the week, look, the winners of this game will put themselves in a fantastic position to go up to Division 1. They'll be almost 1 foot in Division 1. The losers, it's not necessarily over. Like, there is other games to recuperate themselves and later on down the league campaign. Davy did make the point during the week, and I think it's a very interesting one. It might be a more important game for Cork than it is for Meath, because, number one, it's a home game, and we're playing in front of our home fans. Yes, less pressure, but like, you need to win these sorts of games if you are going to be in the reckoning of a promotion charge right at the end of the league campaign. And number two, 2 of our last 3 games are away to Derry and Tyrone. I think if we are to get promoted, we'd probably have to beat Kildare at home. And this might be a game that we target as well. Potentially even one of the Derry and Tyrone games as well. It's such a hard game to call. But look at the injury concerns. Meath, Matthew Costello's out. Jack Hinlock's out. James Conlon. That's huge losses for Meath. And Davy was saying that during the week as well. Obviously, Jordan Morris is in brilliant form. Rory Kinsella is in fantastic form at this present moment in time as well. And seriously, Cork need to put a leash on Jack Flynn going down the home stretch as well, because how many 2-pointers has he got? Look, we have to get a man marking, and I'm sure John will have a plan up his sleeve over this. For us, look, we've had some brilliant performers so far. Stephen Sherlock has been our top scorer. Mark Cronin, quietly, many people talk about Brian Hurley, and many people talk about Driscoll and Sherlock. Mark Cronin, I said to Davey during the week, is probably our most consistent player. He's a solid player. He's either decent or he's exceptional. I think he is the key for Cork, and he's playing at centre forward. It looks like this weekend as well. I'd imagine Brian Hurley will come in for Darragh Sheedy too. Rested last weekend against Offaly. That might be a masterstroke from John, to be fair. Look, it's the biggest game I'd even go as far as to say of the weekend, because the winners of this, as I said, 1 foot of Division 1. It's so important. As well as that, 2 traditional football counties going at it as well. In Páirc Uí Rinn, the last competitive game Cork played in Páirc Uí Rinn, you might remember the Donegal game in the championship, and the crowd roused the Cork players that day. And if they can get a big crowd in, I think this could be a memorable day in Páirc Uí Rinn. Then again, Meath are an excellent side as well. It's a hard one to call. I said it during the week, and I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to say Cork by a point. Maybe it's biased, maybe, but I think, look, we're in this position now. We may as well grab this opportunity with both hands. The Meath injury might be colossal as well. And the fact we beat Meath at home last year as well. That kind of same Meath team. So, no, I'm going to go for our lads slightly. I'm going to go for us by a point. But, my God, it's going to be a tight game. And it's a shame that this game isn't being shown live. And watch now, a person will be showing it on their phone or whatever, and they'll get clamped or whatever. But look, that's the way it is. I'm going to say Cork by a point, but we'll see.
Yeah, it is just disappointing that it's not on TV, isn't it? It's not on TV, Sean. I don't know why Clubber can't show it, or why Cork can't set up a YouTube stream like in Páirc Uí Rinn for it or something. The fans would be the winners and the players would be the winners. But it is what it is, unfortunately. And plenty of games this weekend not being shown. Plenty of big games not being shown. I think, am I right in saying Galway Roscommon isn't being shown as well?
Yeah.
In Division 1. Monaghan Mayo isn't being shown either. Could be wrong with that one.
That is.
Sorry, that one is. Galway Roscommon isn't. I know that Dublin Wexford isn't in the hurling, and that's probably the most important game in Division 1B, because Clare, look, let's be honest, Clare are always going up. Dublin and Wexford definitely are 2 of the front runners to go up with them. But yeah, it's disappointing, but yeah, is what it is. Gavin saying, I'd agree with Matthew, Cork by a point or 2, or another Flynn 2-pointer yet again. My thing is, because Gavin says it perfectly here, Matthew, you were talking about I'm trying to think, was it Bridget's or Ballyboden you were talking about, that you can't keep getting away with late winners and stuff like that. So how long can Meath keep getting out of jail? Do you guys think good wins against Cavan and Louth and down in Westmeath last year? But I think eventually you get caught if you keep playing with danger. I think even though Meath are flying, I can't see them going 7 for 7. I can't see them winning all of their games. They are going to hit a speed bump soon. But I don't think it's this one. Sorry. I think Meath might shade this one. I'll go for Meath. We have a couple of questions in here. Peter saying, lads, if you get a sponsor and some camera gear, could we show it? Absolutely not. We'd have to. It doesn't matter what. You could have the richest sponsor in the world. You have to go through the official lines, and you have to become a channel and the whole lot. So unfortunately not, even though you'd absolutely love it. We'd have to learn about camera work and the lot, but it's not the worst idea I've ever heard, but I don't think it will be happening this weekend anyway. Aaron, you have the cast and vote for this one.
Yeah, I probably would go with Meath narrowly as well. I do agree with your point though, Seamus, in terms of when you are like, I think the problem with Meath is like every game is a shootout, and that's just the way that they play. They've obviously approach these new rules in almost a unique kind of way to everyone else, in terms of every game is a battle and every game is a shootout. And look, they have better players than Cavan and than Louth, in my opinion. So that's kind of been the difference.
Not a bad show for Gavin there.
That is a good show, actually.
It's not a bad show.
Maybe in a club championship or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, no. Look, I think Meath will come through it. I think there will be maybe a bump at some point. I think it'll be very close though. Like I think there'll probably only be 2 or 3 in it, and I definitely wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be a shock if Cork also did win.
Yeah, I'm going to bat this one straight back to you, because this one, again, in terms of the promotion race, is quite consequential. Louth hosting Tyrone on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Porkvura. Tyrone finally got up and running last weekend with their first win of the campaign against Cavan, but Peter Canavan also confirmed that Dara Canavan now won't be around for this game. Louth also need to bounce back after defeat against Meath and Cork. Are they out of the promotion charge now, or are they right back in it if they beat Tyrone? And if they do, does that mean Tyrone are out of it?
Yeah, like Division 2 is a bit mental. To be honest with you, I don't know. Like, I don't see Louth winning this game, to be honest with you. Like, I know they are at home and everything else. I think it's been played in Drogheda, is it not an RD?
It's RD.
Oh, it is RD. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that actually might help them, to be fair, because it is a much tighter pitch. And it might be a lot closer then in that instance. But look, they definitely do have a chance. Like, I don't think there'd be much in it. It's a real banana skin type game from a Tyrone perspective. As you alluded to it there as well, they are missing a lot of players seem to be coming out of the team and in the team. Like, Ethan Jordan was outstanding in the first couple of games. He comes off the bench in injury time the last day. Rory Canavan or Dara Canavan missing at the start, then comes back. Now he's gone again. There doesn't seem to be any sign of Darren McCurry either. So there are question marks over Tyrone a little bit in regards to that. And look, this is the type of game that we know the Louth fans could get up for. The way, although Louth lost versus Meath, they will take a lot of positivity in terms of how they ended that match. And without question, their big players like Samuel Roy and Craig Lennon and others really did stand up towards the end of that game. So I think it'll be close, but I'll just give the edge, I think, to Tyrone by a couple of points. I think they are a little bit better around the middle at the moment, and I think they have a little bit more, defensively as well, I think. So I'd go with Tyrone ever so slightly.
Absolutely. Sean here saying, does Derek Canavan's absence influence your Tyrone League predictions? Yes, absolutely. Combined with the fact that they looked quite flat in the first game against Kildare and then that second game against Derry. Now, even though that they got the win against Cavan, they've also lost their best player. Like, I don't think they'll top the table anymore. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they go up in second. But if they lose this, or if they lose to Meath, like, I think they might slip under. Like, I really, really do. And I'd be quite surprised by that. Well, that should be a great weekend of action, says Ryan. Absolutely should. Mikey saying Louth's focus is on the Cavan game. And John Doherty here saying Tipp 225, Limerick 120. Of course, that's about the hurling, which we're going to come to. Gavin saying that Tyrone Cork game is going to be huge without Canavan. And Matthew, obviously, is a Cork man. You must be delighted that Canavan won't be there for that one. Sean saying Derry and Meath to go up. There's plenty of different variations that I could well believe. But anyway, first of all, Matthew, I'll ask you quickly about Louth and Tyrone, but then I'll throw you your next game, which again is a biggie. Cavan against Kildare, Sunday at 3 p.m. in Breffni Park. What are you expecting from this one? And then your quick pick for Louth and Tyrone.
First of all, I think Tyrone will actually edge it against Louth. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Louth win, actually. It's in RD. It's a tight pitch. They love playing there. They didn't play there against Cork, which is why Cork beat them so comfortably, but I think Tyrone will get over the line eventually. Cavan and Kildare, very tough one to call. I've heard people say during the week, look, Kildare are the top scorers of the Division 2, only with Cork are slightly behind them. But the problem for Kildare is they concede a bit too much, and maybe they have to stop that leakiness from the back. But obviously, you kind of expect that from a younger kind of a team. And to be fair to Kildare, they have performed well at stages. Alex Byrne is a big loss for them. I don't know, has there been an appeal on that? I don't think there has. So I think he is a massive loss at the full forward position. Look, I think Kildare performed well, but you're gonna actually ask from a Cavan point of view. They performed well in the first 2 games against Meath and Cork. When is the penny going to drop for them? When are they actually going to win a game? When are they going to actually pick up points? You might argue this game, considering it's at home for them. I still feel like Kildare will get over the line simply because Dermot McCabe has this, I would call it a bug. He doesn't know how to get over the line in these sorts of situations. It's a tight game, going down the home stretch, or Cavan are leading by a substantial margin, and somehow they throw the game away. It's the same as the Westmeath job. I don't know what it is with Dermot McCabe. I really don't know what it is. It's just the game management is very, very poor. The style of football is good. The performance level is good. But then the end of it, just the lapses of concentration, it's very, very poor. Partly my reason in having Cavan in the relegation zone, if I'm honest with you as well, at the start of the league campaign, I think Kildare would win it. I think Kildare will win it by a point or two. It'll be very, very tight. I just can't see Cavan winning it, considering their inability to close out games.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And I think, though, they have definitely had that struggle, and McCabe had that same struggle with Westmeath last year, where they were having a lot of moral victories where they were going down by a point and everything like that. The only thing is, last week against Tyrone, they got a bit of a hiding in the second half. Like, Tyrone really, really pulled away from them. They need that snapback. Matthew's gone with Kildare to win. I'm actually going to go with Cavan. I think they will have a response. So, Aaron, once again, my friend, you have the casting vote.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Matthew on this one. I think I'll go for Kildare to narrowly come through it. It is going to be very close though, and like these are the type of games that Kildare would absolutely lose a couple of years ago. Like you've saw them lose these type of games where they're like, I feel like Kildare are like they're the team that builds you up to let you down on so many occasions. And after some big performances against the likes of Derry and Tyrone, you know, would be kind of vintage Kildare in some regards. But no, I think they will have enough. And yeah, I think for Cavan, they will unfortunately lose another one.
Yeah, it's a toss of a coin, to be honest. Now, this one, I think there's much more of a clear favourite, with all due respect to Liam, of course. But Offaly going away to Derry, this is going to be a very difficult game, Matthew. It's in Celtic Park. And it's like Derry have finally woken up to how talented a team they have. And now the wheels are starting to move a little bit. And I feel like for Offaly going away to their backyard and trying to stop them, it'll be difficult.
Be incredibly look again. I can't see any other results but a Derry win. And to be fair, I know I criticise Monaghan, but to be fair, Monaghan have had like their players on the pitch from last year. That's not really an excuse. From an Offaly point of view, I looked at their team before the Cork game just as research, and I did a comparison from their Division 3 final. A lot of players are out. Jack Bryant, who I actually asked Liam that question about Jack Bryant. He actually doesn't know where he is, which is a concern. I don't know where, actually, considering his talented ability and fairness from an Offaly point of view. To be fair, Harry Plum...
You can ask him now. No word of a lie. Liam, Matthew just said your name, and you just appeared on stage.
This wasn't planned, man. If anyone asks.
You arrived back just in time for us to talk about Derry Offaly. Do you want to take the wheel?
All right, I'm going again. I know. Yeah, sorry for leaving you, lads. But Derry Offaly, yeah. Jesus, yeah. Look, that's probably an accurate scoreline of what it could be this weekend. I'll be up at the game on Saturday evening, looking forward to it, obviously, and looking forward to going up there. Never been to Derry, so I don't know what to expect. But yeah, look, it's going to be a tough game for us. It's been a tough start to the league, to be honest with you. 3 defeats in a row. And look, the performances haven't been probably up to scratch so far. Look, we have our injury problems, but you know what county doesn't at this point. But yeah, look, it's going to be a very tough challenge for us going up there against a Derry side who've had 2 fantastic wins back to back, and you know didn't play that badly against Meath the opening day as well when they lost by 3 points. But look, as much as I would love to say we might get our first win or anything like that, I think if we are to get a win in this campaign, our best chances are going to come against probably the likes of Cavan, and maybe if we can catch Meath on a bad day, possibly in Tullamore on the last day. But yeah, with Derry this weekend, I can't see anything but a Derry win, to be honest with you, especially having home advantage as well. And then even going up to Tyrone next weekend, even though Canavan's not going to be there, I mean, I think Tyrone will still probably have too much for us, but obviously that's next week's issue. But yeah, look, I can't see us going up and getting a victory as much as I'd love to say we could.
You've got Derry at a bad time as well. It's like Derry have finally, I was just saying before you came in, that Derry have kind of like woken up to how good they are now. Like they've started, the wheels are starting to turn in the brain. And they're like, oh yeah, we did win the league a couple of years ago. Oh yeah, we were hot favourites to get to an All-Ireland final a couple of years ago. People were tipping us for the All-Ireland only a couple of years ago. So they should be in Division 1 based off all that. But they're down in Division 2 and they're going to push, I think, to get back. And I would not rule them out getting promoted at all. But we are going to move on to Division 3, Round 4. And lads, it is quick prediction time. And Matthew, I'm going to throw it over to you first. So Division 3's Round 4 has Westmeath hosting Fermanagh on Sunday at 1 p.m. in Cusack Park. Clare hosting Laois on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Port Keysog. Sligo hosting Limerick at 2 p.m. on Sunday in Markievicz Park. Wexford hosting Down on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Wexford Park. So if I could get very quickly, bang them out. How do you think these 4 games are going to go?
Westmeath to beat Fermanagh, Down to beat Wexford. I'm going to go Sligo to beat Limerick. This is my last throw of the dice with Sligo. There is potential in this team. I know there's potential in this team, but they keep proving me wrong in many ways by losing games they shouldn't be losing. So hopefully they get it over the line this weekend. If they don't get over the line, I'm lost hope on Sligo, I'll be honest with you. And the last game, I think Laois might edge it. No, I'm messing. I'm going to go for Clare. I'm going to go for Clare to win this game. Don't worry, Clare fans, I don't hate you that much.
I'm going to go with Westmeath, Clare, Sligo and Down. So 3 home teams to win, but then Down to continue their sweep of the division. Aaron, I'll go to you next.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with both you lads. The only change I'd make, I actually think Sligo Limerick will be a draw. Mainly, again, it boils down to Sligo's inconsistencies, and also as well, Limerick have like both Sligo and Limerick have had mad starts to the league when you actually look at the results. So yeah, I'd Sligo Limerick draw, back Westmeath to win, back Clare to win, and back Down to win as well.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about here how Fermanagh going down to Division 4. Sean mentioned Barry McNulty. Did you see his 6 2-pointers? Absolutely ridiculous over the weekend. But obviously he's down in Division 4 currently, which is where we're going to come to next. Liam, could I get your predictions very quick though?
Yeah, Westmeath to beat Fermanagh, I think as well. I think Down will win as well. I'm going to go with Limerick to beat Sligo. I think they might actually edge them on this one. And I'd be half tempted to say Clare Laois draw, just because Clare have the tendency to maybe beat a big side and then lose a game that they're not expected to. And Laois could be riding a wave after that win last weekend. But I'm going to stick with Clare just with home advantage by 3 points.
Absolutely. Des here taking the words out of my mouth. All games that are not shown on TV should be shown on YouTube. I absolutely agree with that, Des. There's no question about it. I have absolutely no issue with any of the broadcasters that currently show our games, and I think that TG Car are fantastic. I think the RTE are fantastic. I think that GA Plus are brilliant. I think their new show, The View, is unbelievable. The people we have at the table now are brilliant, and TG Car are leading the way in terms of, you know, fully absorbing the live games on YouTube and the live games on the player and everything like that, and looking at other ways to do it. But the problem with the league is that we've so many games, so we need to get more people at the table. Clubbers should be given games the same way that they help to cover the club games. Like, who wouldn't watch the clubber games if they were showing, you know, for example, Cork and Meath in Páirc Uí Rinn this weekend, not being shown anywhere. Galway Roscommon, big Division 1 clash, not being shown anywhere. Let's get these games shown. That's all I'm saying. There should be a safety net underneath that makes sure that if it doesn't go to the, you know, the main person who has first dibs on it, that it goes to the next person. And if the next person doesn't have room to show it, it goes to the next person and the next person. And there's a safety net there to make sure that every single game gets shown. That's what I think it should be like. Gaelic guy here saying Westmeath, Limerick, Down and draw, and he's even put the score lines: 315 to 17 points, Down 24, Wexford 114, Sligo 19 points, Limerick 21, Clare 115, Laois 115. Gaelic guy here saying TG Car was class final games of last year in the league. Exactly, leading the way with their Sunday sport coverage, with their Super Sunday coverage, everything like that. Sean saying just get them on Cúilín Media. Lads, we're gonna have to start a channel. Like, honest to God, we're gonna have to start a channel. But yeah, we'll move on to Division 4 then. And Liam, I'll throw this back counterclockwise. So I'll go to yourself first. We've got Carlow hosting Waterford on Saturday at 6 p.m. in Cullen Park. Wicklow hosting London and Ockram on Sunday at 1. Leitrim hosting Antrim and Páirc Sean McDermott at 2 on Sunday. And Longford hosting Tipperary on Sunday at 2 in Pearse Park.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Longford to, I'm going to go with Longford to beat Tipperary. I'm going to go with Wicklow to beat London. Um, I'd say that. What was the other two games again? Sorry, Carlow to beat Waterford and Leitrim to win as well.
Interestingly enough, we've like a couple of the games. Like if you'd said to me Longford Tipp last week, I would have said Tipp to win. But now I'm going to go with Longford because they've turned a bit of a corner there with their win away in Antrim.
I'm the
exactly the same with Leitrim Antrim. I would have said Antrim to win at the start of the league, but not only Leitrim going away and winning a tricky game in Ruislip, but Antrim looking quite vulnerable in that Longford game. So I'm going to go with Leitrim and Longford to win that respectively. And I'm going for a clean sweep with all the home teams, Wicklow to beat London and Carlow to beat Waterford. Aaron, any disagreements?
I'm going to go with Tipperary to beat Longford. I think some of the Sigerson lads, I think, will be back in the side. It's a weird one with Longford. Like, I think it'll be very close. Like, I think there'll only be a couple of points in it. But like, they did lose to London on the opening round of the league. They obviously struggled versus Waterford as well. Like, their 2 wins came against 2 teams who have 0 points. So I still think Tipperary have a little bit more there, in my opinion. And in relation to the other games, I do agree as well. I think Leitrim should be far too strong for Antrim. I think they should be comfortable enough for Carlow, who almost have 1 foot in the door now for promotion. And then, I think Wicklow London will be very high scoring, but I do think Wicklow will come through it.
I actually have no idea to your question, Mikey. Absolutely no idea. If you have the answer to that handy, I would be very, very impressed. Ryan here saying Longford for promotion, lads. They've left it late to start a run for it, but you never know. I mean, they're in a similar position to Tyrone. Like, I know Tyrone had the draw. They only have 1 more point in them, and we're all still saying Tyrone are in with a shout. So why not? Gaelic guy here saying Carlow, Tipp, Leitrim, Wicklow. So 1 change from my predictions. But anyway, who hasn't? Matthew, you haven't gone yet for Division 4. Round us off. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'd say Carlow, Wicklow, Leitrim, and Tipperary.
Nice and straightforward. Again, you're gone with the same with me. A clean sweep for the home teams. But we'll move.
Tipp will beat Longford.
Oh, sorry, Tipp. Yeah, apologies. But yeah, that's the men's football divisions rounded up and previewed for the weekend. We're going to move on to the LGFA now. We have Division 1's round 4. And we're going to start off with the clash that is live on TG4 this Saturday at 4:15. And Liam, I'm going to throw this one to you. Galway against Armagh in Duggan Park. Galway have started their league campaign a little bit of a mixed bag. Obviously, there was a surprise defeat in there to Cork. But Armagh have started really poorly. And going away to Galway, I mean, what are you expecting from this one? I can't see anything other than a Galway win.
No, I'm the same. Like, I'd say that defeat for Armagh last weekend against Cork as well would have hurt them very badly as well. And like you mentioned, Galway have had a bit of an indifferent start to the league campaign, but I also think Galway are still one of the strongest sides in this division. I mean, their full forward line, judging by the one that was starting against Kildare, I don't know if it will start directly like that this weekend, but I mean, you've Leanne Cohen, Andrea Trill, and I mean, Roisin Leonard for me is one of the top forwards in the country. You give her any sort of chance and she's defeating you by herself. Do you know what I mean? So, and you've Kate Slevin there as well. I think these types of players are going to want to show up this weekend and try and put out a bit of a statement as well, because Galway are a side who last year will feel like an opportunity slipped them by to a degree, not getting to an All-Ireland final. And I'd say they'll want to try and put the foot down now. Maybe similar to maybe the Kerry men's footballers last year in the league. Started off maybe a bit slowly and then sort of kicked into gear with that one game they had against Tyrone for Kerry. And this could be the game this weekend that makes Galway ignite. So I think Galway will actually win this kind of comfortably enough. I'm going to go Galway winning this by 8-9 points. And I'm going to predict a bold statement, but I'm going to predict Roisin Leonard to get a hat-trick of goals.
Oh, wow. Really going all out here. I'm going Galway. I'm going Galway. Gaelic guy here saying Galway by 3. Armagh ladies have started poorly. Any disagreements, lads? Or Matthew, are you ready for your next game? Okay. Your next game is Kerry versus Cork, Sunday at 2 p.m. in Austin Stack Park. Very, very interesting clash because Kerry have started the league, apart from the defeat against Waterford, 2 wins in their other 2 games. whereas Cork have started much better than I think most of us thought they would.
Yeah, I think they've started brilliantly, to be fair, Cork, and considering Joe Carroll has been saying to the media that the aim for Cork was to stay in Division 1, I thought everybody else's predictions were kind of the same. They've started really, really well. Like, the draw against Kildare was a bit underwhelming, but then to go and beat Galway and Armagh, I know Armagh are very poor without the Maccas at this present moment of time, but to go up there to Ulster to get a win is absolutely superb. And Anya Terry O'Sullivan's doing really well. Katie Quirk is as well. Amy Corcoran's a very good player at wing back, and has probably been Cork's best performer so far in the league. Look, they have played very well. There's no qualms with Cork's display so far. But I feel like this is the sort of game Kerry will start to kick into gear. It's at home in Tralee against a Munster rival in Cork, historical rival, obviously. I'd imagine Siofra O'Shea will be out. They're out playing, obviously. Rachel Dwyer, all these sorts of players will kick into gear. Daniel O'Leary, they'll kick into gear. And I think they will get over the line this one. But Cork will start off well. Whatever happens this weekend, I still think it's a brilliant start.
I do agree. I think I'll probably go for Kerry to shade this one. Any disagreements, lads?
No.
I think home advantage. I think they're moving a little bit, but Cork are definitely on the up, no question about it. Aaron, your game next then. Dublin versus Kildare, Sunday at 2 p.m. in Parnell Park. We've lost our first 3 games. If we lose this one, we're staring relegation in the face, and I would not have anticipated that for this Dublin team in the league this year, especially coming in after the All-Ireland win last summer. We have to win this one. Will
absolutely. We? Yeah, absolutely. It's do or die. It's kind of a bit like the situation with the men's footballers last week versus Monaghan. Absolutely have to win this game. There's a strong chance we could win this game and still go down when you look at how things are kind of shaping up in terms of the league so far. But yeah, I think from a Dublin perspective, the big thing is, can we get some of the bigger players to come back into the panel for this weekend? The likes of Carla Rowe and maybe a few others. I think that'll be interesting to see. I think Jodie Egan's been impressive so far from a Dublin perspective. But even when you're looking at it, like only like out of the 3 games Dublin have played, we haven't scored more than 9 points in any of the games. Like we scored 9 versus Kerry, 1-4 versus Meath, and we scored 8 points versus Waterford. Like we're struggling, to be honest, in terms of scoring. And like another kind of mad stat as well is that only on 2 occasions as a player scored more than a point across all 3 games, and that was Jodie Egan and Ellen Gribben on the opening weekend versus Kerry. So a little bit worrying from a Dublin perspective in regards to that. But yeah, I'm gonna back us though. Like at the same time, like Roisin Ford's been good for Kildare, but I think we will. I'm gonna back us. Look, I think we have to win a home advantage. I think we'll do it by. I'm gonna say by 2.
Yeah, no excuses in this one. I'm going to go for us to win by 6. I think if we lose this, we're down. I think simple as that. You look at the teams we still have to face. If we lose it, I think we're gone. We still have to face Galway, teams like that. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. The next game then, Matthew, going back to you for this one. The team of the league so far, Waterford, they host Meath on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Dungarvan. Can they keep their 100% record up?
I think they can, yeah. They've been absolutely sensational, Waterford. The likes of Chloe Fennell up front, Breed McMaw, Laura McGregor. Like, they've been absolutely superb, this Waterford team. And is it too early to say Waterford are All-Ireland contenders? They are a fantastic team. They are an absolutely brilliant side there. Obviously, the acid test from a Waterford point of view was to get a bit of form together. They have done that. Another acid test was to beat Kerry, especially away from home. They did that in the league. I think this Waterford team is very, very serious this season, and Tomas Mackenseer deserves a lot of credit for how he's built this Waterford side and how he's made them so competitive. I think they will win this game, and I think they will win it comfortably enough. Just on Meath, I see the tweet from Fergal Lynch actually earlier today. Mary Kay Lynch obviously lose out. She is going down to AFLW. Out of the 2021 All-Ireland final lineup from a Meath point of view, only Emma Duggan for the starting lineup remains in the Meath panel right now. Now, I read that stat from Fergal, and I thought
Monica McGurk retired.
That's what I was thinking. Is Monica McGurk retired? Is Katie New gone permanently now? But apparently, according to Fergal, it is true. Like, obviously, Vicky Wall's gone. I think Orla Lally was in that lineup as well. Mary Kate, obviously.
Yeah.
Eva Sullivan. Like, that's a huge turnover of players. Obviously, you have the likes of Robin Murray and Kerry Cole who have done well from a youngster's standpoint. But that's a lot of experience out of that meets panel. But you have to cut them some slack in fairness. Like, that's a abundance of talent to lose. Not just Vicky Wall and not just Mary Kate, but over the years, Neva Sullivan, Orla Duff, Monica McGurk, Emma Troy. Like, those are serious players to lose.
Don't just replace them, like.
You can't. No, Aoibhinn Leahy. You can't replace Maura Shaughnessy. You can't replace these sorts of players. They're absolutely brilliant players, and I feel sorry for Meath, the way they have lost their players. But look, times do move on, and this Meath team might be struggling in the next few years, even though they did beat Dublin comprehensively early in the league campaign. So maybe the young talent is coming through.
Yeah. I mean, like Peter here saying Stacey Grimes retired. Like when it comes to the AFL on the men's side, and especially the AFLW, we are long past the stage where the two associations and organizations need to get together. The GAA, LGFA, and the AFL and AFLW need to all sit down and be like, right, we need to work our calendars here so that we're not clashing. Because if you keep taking our players, either you need to move your season a little bit forward so that they can keep playing championship here, like how Aoibhinn Cleary played in the All-Ireland final and then went to Australia. I've no problem with that. I've absolutely no problem with that. Vicky Wall the same, played the All-Ireland final and then went over for the season. Nobody has any problems with that. It's when it directly impacts the game here that you feel it as a fan, because you're getting robbed of watching top class players play the game here. Now, obviously, from a personal perspective, you don't begrudge the person at all. You don't begrudge Kobe McDonald going over and playing AFL. Why would you? It's a lifetime opportunity. Why would you begrudge Mary Kate Lynch going over and playing with the Sydney Swans? It's an amazing opportunity. But the associations need to sit down and go, right, we need to work this out. Either your calendar moves or our calendar moves, or maybe we both move back and give time for the GAA season or the LGFA season to happen, and then the Aussie rules season to happen. And then the players can do both. Because right now, in terms of the person, if for each person, you don't begrudge them because it's an amazing opportunity. And if I was playing and I was offered, I would go. Like, I have to stress, it's an amazing opportunity. Why not go for a couple of years and experience a new sport, experience a new part of the world, and then come home? That's what I would do. I'd probably go for 2 years. Like, I'd do it like, you know, how Marty Clark did it or something, like go and then come back. However, in terms of an association, the AFL are robbing them blind. Like, they are literally getting 50 pre-packaged, ready to go, unbelievable athletes for the AFLW, and they're not having to pay a penny. And then on the men's side, they're getting players like Kobe McDonald, Mark O'Connor, and they're not paying the GAA a dime. So they're getting a great deal. So I think and obviously I'm not advocating that the GAA should get money. I'm not advocating that the LGFA should get money. I'm saying that there needs to be a respect towards the sport, because it is doing damage to the sport when you're losing the best players. Kerry, in particular, on the men's football side as well, have been damaged so much by the players they've lost, whether it's Killian Burke, Mark O'Connor. Like, could you imagine how good they'd be if they had them? Like, so yeah, I think we're long past the point that they need to have a meeting and hash this out, because maybe it won't affect the championship much this year, but now it's like players like Mark O'Connor have proved how, you know, worthwhile it is to go and pick up a player from Ireland. So I'm surprised that more of it isn't being done, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, rant over. But anyway, no, genuinely, like, I have to emphasize that I'm delighted for any player that goes, and I wish them nothing but the best. But in terms of the association, I think there needs to be a little bit more respect and try and line the calendars up more than we're currently seeing. But anyway, Division 2, fast predictions time. Aaron, I'm going to throw this one to you first. Division 2, we have Donegal taking on Cavan on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Ballyshannon. We have Tyrone taking on Mayo on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Healy Park. Tipperary taking on Monaghan at 2 p.m. on Sunday in Clonmel. And Wexford hosting Westmeath on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Enniscorthy. What are you thinking for these ones?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go with Tyrone to get the better in their game. So I'm actually gonna go for 4 home wins. Actually, to be honest with you, I think Tipperary will be too strong for Monaghan as well. I'll go for what was the first game actually again?
The first game, apologies. First game was Donegal versus Cavan, Sunday at 2 in Ballyshannon.
Donegal, Donegal. I think be relatively comfortable there. Like Tyrone Mayo is an interesting one. Like that could be quite close, to be fair. But I'll back Tyrone.
Yeah. Peter here saying on Marty Clark's Lecker Gale, it showed former GA president Nicky Brennan meeting with AFL Chiefs. They had it out. They did, Peter, but at the time, players moving to Australia was still relatively new. I know Jimmy Steins obviously did it in the 80s, and there were players who went, but like Ty Kennelly and Zach Toohey, they were kind of exceptions. And Marty Clark was like the another big star going. And then Tommy Walsh went around that time. So that's when people started to realize that it was picking up in speed. But like, surely we're over 50 LGFA players now, lads. Like, that is outrageous. That's not an experiment anymore. That's a strategy. So Gaelic guy here saying Donegal, Tyrone, Wexford and Tipp. Ryan saying the Westmeath goal machine to win again. I'm going to go with these games. I'm going Donegal, Tyrone, Tipp, and I'm going to go Westmeath. Any disagreements, lads?
I would say Westmeath if Anna Jones is playing, because she didn't play against Monaghan. She was injured, and that was a big reason why they lost. They only scored 1-6 in that game. If she's playing, Westmeath win. If she's not playing, I think Wexford might actually do it.
Yeah. Any disagreements, Matthew?
Same as you, Seamus. I think Westmeath will win away, and then all home wins after that. To be fair, Donegal have started well. Eva Gallagher has been really impressive for them. And yeah, I think it'll be home wins other than Wexford, Westmeath.
Very good. Well, we're just going to run through the games in Division 3 and Division 4. Division 3's round 4. Antrim will host Fermanagh on Sunday at 2 p.m. Clare hosts Laois in Clare Castle on Sunday at 1 p.m. Down hosts Roscommon in Port Esler on Sunday at 1 p.m. and Louth hosts Limerick in the Integral GAA grounds on Sunday at 2 p.m. And Division 4, then interestingly, they're a round ahead. They're already on round 5. Carlow hosts Derry at Setu Carlow on Sunday at 2 p.m. Leitrim hosts Wicklow and Ballinamore on Sunday at 2 p.m. Offaly host Longford in Dangan GAA on Sunday at 2 p.m. And Sligo will host Kilkenny and Clonakil on Sunday at 2 p.m. And that is the LGFA previewed and predicted. We are now going to move on to the small ball. We're switching codes from the big ball to the small ball. And we're going to the hurling. And Matthew, this game is yours. Division 1A's round 4 clash. What a game this is going to be. Tipperary against Limerick, Saturday at 5:30 p.m. in Semple Stadium. This one's going to be a banger. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I'm not sure it's going to be a banger, to be honest with you, Seamus. There might be a bit of shadow boxing. I feel like there's the Munster campaign.
I proper alley-oop that shit.
The Munster campaign's coming down the line. I don't think either side would particularly want to win this game. Limerick will want a bit of form, obviously. Tipperary obviously got halted with that game against Cork, but I feel like this is a sort of game that nobody would really want to win in many ways. Tipperary might play a few players here and there, or they might try out a few talented individuals. If there is a team that want to win the game more, I'm going to go for Limerick, because obviously they beat Kilkenny. They're looking for their second win on the board, and they're looking for a bit more consistency on their standpoint. And I think this might be the game to do that. To be fair, I think Adam English, having him in the team from a Limerick point of view, he creates so much, he adds so much in midfield. I'd go as far as to say, from a Limerick point of view, if Adam English gets injured anytime during the year, they're ghost. I think this guy, seriously, is a very, very good player individually in that midfield for Limerick, because he created, a lot of people talk about the Aaron Gallan finish against Kilkenny, brilliant at the top corner. But who was the guy that created the goal for Aaron Gallan? Adam English. He was the guy that passed the ball into him. And to be fair, I think he got 1-3 in assists against Kilkenny the last day. I think it was 1-5 or 1-6 in contributions overall. This guy makes Limerick tick on the pitch. And I think what was interesting as well, Nicky Quaig got 4 points of assists for his puck outs. I think Limerick are having this strategy again where they have Nicky Quaid puck the ball out to Dermot Burns, goes a little solo puck over the bar. what he usually does. If Limerick bring that back into their game for the championship, I think they'll be a hard team to beat. And obviously, they need to keep English fit. They need to keep Shane O'Brien fit. Obviously, he played well for Mary in the Fitzgibbon Cup as well. Played very well at full forward. Aaron Gallant seems to be going very well. Darrell Hager seems to be more of a team player this year. So that's a positive from a Limerick point of view. For Tipp, I still think there's a lot of positives. Even if I think they'll lose the game at the weekend, I think Limerick will get over the line. There is a lot of positives. Cathal O'Reilly, a cornerback, has been a revelation. I think Darren McCarthy has carried on his form from last season. Oisin O'Donoghue is a brilliant player as well. Willie Connors is well able to get involved in rucks as well. So, look, Tipperary are in a good place. Brian O'Mara, Ronan Maher as well in defence. They are in a good place. They're both in a good place. I'm just not sure either side would want to, give anything away as such. Like Limerick might have given a bit too much away against Kilkenny, the way Adam English plays and the way Dickie Quaid utilises his puckouts. But maybe they don't want to give away a bit too much against Tipperary. What I might expect to see, though, not necessarily a banger in terms of quality hurling, I might expect a few flashpoints, maybe. Obviously, we've seen it against Cork. We might get it in this game as well. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm going to say Limerick basically because they need to win more.
Lads, could I get your quick predictions before I give you your assigned games? Obviously, one eye on the clock.
Limerick 222, Tipperary 218.
Aaron?
Tipperary 121, Limerick 20 points.
Wow. So, Aaron, I'll join you. I'm going to say Tipp to win. I'm going to go Tipp 122, Limerick 23 points. But we'll see what happens. Aaron, your assigned game is next. Division 1, Round 4, clash Kilkenny against Waterford, Sunday at 1:45 p.m. in Nolan Park. Very, very interesting clash, this one. Obviously, Waterford started the league camp very poorly. They've got better and better since. Good back-to-back wins in their next games over Limerick and Offaly. Kilkenny have been a little bit underwhelming, I think it's fair to say, and obviously lost their last game out against Limerick. But they have home advantage for this one. Will that be enough?
It's a very hard one to call this, to be honest with you, because when you actually look what Kilkenny are scoring, they're not scoring a huge amount. They finished the last day with 216. Even in the opening game versus Offaly as well, they didn't score a huge amount. I know they won the game in the end, but they wouldn't be scoring as much as say like a Tipperary or a Cork or even a Limerick. So I think Waterford have a serious chance here. They're coming in form. Back-to-back wins. Ruben Halloran, has been arguably player of the year, player of the league so far. He's been absolutely outstanding. And with Kilkenny, aside from Owen Cody, they're not really. It's just the same old problems with Kilkenny. Like we mentioned it in the last show, that doesn't seem to be bizarrely for whatever reason. There is underage, and they have had good underage teams, but there doesn't really seem to be a huge amount coming through. There's a few here and there, like Jordan Malloy and. You've had Billy Drennan and a few lads who've kind of come through the ranks for Kilkenny a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe a draw.
Where are you going? Go on, jumped on the fence last minute. I'm going with Waterford. I actually think Waterford are going to turn them over. Real quick, Matthew, eye on the clock. What are you thinking?
Waterford to win this by 5.
Liam?
I always find it dangerous to not to write off Kilkenny, so I'm actually going to go with Kilkenny to win it by 2 points.
Very interesting. Gaelic guy here saying Kilkenny 117, Waterford 218, and the train won't stop yet for Waterford. Peter says Harry Shine back training. Ryan Gallagher says Kilkenny conveyor belt running dry. We're going to move on then. Liam, your assigned game, surprise, Offaly versus Galway, Sunday at 2 p.m. in St. Brendan's Park. You have home advantage for this one, and when we were doing the preview at the beginning of the league campaign, you highlighted this one as one that, depending on how results went and how form goes, you might be able to turn them over. Well, it's here. What are you expecting?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a very tough game. Even with it being in Burr, it's still going to be a very tough challenge for us. And I suppose I was kind of saying this off the back of thinking maybe, well, obviously, look, when we did the predictions video, I didn't realize how many bad injuries we did have, but also I didn't know how Galway were going to perform in the first 2 league games. And ironically, of course, they performed relatively well against Tipperary, and they did very well against Cork as well in Pearse Stadium. So, look, it's going to be a very tough game. Thanks, Ryan. No. We'll give it the proper analysis that it deserves. Look, it's going to be a tough game for us. There's no point sugarcoating it. I have heard reports as well that the two Ravenhills are going to be out this weekend. Ross, I'm not surprised. He took a very nasty hit towards the end of the first half against Waterford. There could be concussion stuff, I believe. I've no update on Charlie Mitchell whatsoever. He's not going to be playing this weekend anyway, and he probably won't be playing during the league. But I've no update on when he'll be returning. I hope it is soon for the lads' sake, to be honest with you. But yeah, look, it's going to be a very tough game for us. Obviously, look, we have players that are playing well at the moment. Cottle King's playing well in midfield. Adam Screeney, who won a Fitzgibbon last weekend, is playing fierce well for us at the moment. Brecon Cavan is slotting in well. Ben Keneally's going fierce well at fullback. Liam Hoare was missing the last day. I hope that's not an injury or anything like that. But in fairness to Mark Troy, he stepped up and did well against Waterford. But yeah, look, we've not been performing badly in the league. Like you said, Kilkenny lost by 4 points. Tipperary, we were 5 points in at half time until they just turned it on in the second half. And against Waterford, it was a 6 point defeat, and we left some scores behind us. But look, if we could perform relatively well enough this weekend, I'd be happy. But I don't see Galway losing this game. I think, look, as much as I would love to sit here and I'd love to come on here Sunday evening absolutely jumping for joy after beating Galway, and even though we're probably still going down, I just don't see it happening. I think with the likes of Jason Rabbit, who I've been very impressed with at the start of the league, if Aaron Nyland is playing this weekend, Declan McLaughlin, I should say, as well at corner forward, Tom Monaghan, and I mean, Jesus Christ, if Cathal Mannion's playing, then it could be a long afternoon for us as well. But I'm going to go with Galway to win it. I would say maybe 223 to 117 or something like that.
Any disagreements, lads?
No.
I don't have any. Aaron, I'll show you the next one. We're jumping now onto Division 1B's round 4. Dublin hosting Wexford on Saturday at 5 p.m. in Croke Park. In terms of the promotion race out of Division 1B, look, Clare, I think, are a shoe-in to go up, but I think this one might just decide who goes up with them.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's an interesting one because Wexford have won 3 games and probably haven't looked brilliant in winning those 3 games, and it's probably a reflection a little bit of their score difference, because it isn't a huge amount as you'd expect from a team who's beaten Carlow, Down and Antrim. Obviously the first 2 they have to rely on kind of late winners, and then coming into this, if they win this game, they're basically promoted, bizarrely, because obviously with the head-to-head, and you'd imagine obviously Clare probably aren't going to slip up between now and the end of the league, so it's absolutely huge. It is, and look, from a Dublin perspective, competed very well versus Clare, comfortable versus Kildare. Kind of hard to read into that. Maybe some of the big kind of talking points is Ronan Hayes getting back amongst the goals, scored 2 goals versus Kildare, which is great to see because it looked kind of more like the vintage Ronan Hayes from a good couple of years ago. I think we were all saying, when he was kind of winning those.
Crokes, Ronan Hayes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of good to see. And then obviously Brian Hayes. We'll leave it at
the real
that.
Brian Hayes.
He obviously scored 1-3 the first day, so he's been in good form as well. So yeah, I'm gonna back us to come through it. I'm gonna back us by 5. I think we'll have enough to do the business. Interesting enough, though, do actually think the game in Croke Park might suit Wexford more potentially than it suits us. But I still think we'll have enough. Yeah.
That was great fun, actually. I love that game. But anyway, I find it interesting that if you look at last year, the key point in terms of the key factor in us not going up was the game that we lost to Offaly in Croke Park. And that game, again, we home advantage. You would tip us to win it, and we didn't. And Offaly got us at the death.
I want to thank you for that again.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be.
Keep our spot warm there, will you?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too.
Well, we were after losing to West Ham a few hours earlier, and then to go beat Dublin later. I mean, that really cheered me up. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, and then that was the first day that you jumped on the pod with me ever. I think it was. Literally went from Croke Park back to the house and did the pod, steaming. Yeah. But anyway,
you'll take our spot. It's okay.
I think. It's Brian saying hopefully no bad ref decisions with ghost goals this time out for Dublin. Yeah, I mean, of course, the Parnell Park factor. Look, Lee Chin's back playing well, which is not great timing in terms of us. I kind of wish we got Wexford in round 1 now. Jack saying, Han Longford, just watch backseam comments, wouldn't get ahead of ourselves yet. We could beat Tipp only because they're struggling too. If we won the Tailteann, that would be unreal and probably unrealistic. But look, Limerick did well in from Division 4, got to the Tailteann final. So, like, I mean, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. It is unlikely, like you are an underdog, but wouldn't rule it out. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dubs to win this one. Learn our lesson from last year, get the job done. Liam, your game out of Division 1B is this one, Kildare versus Clare, Saturday at 6:30 p.m. in St. Conleth's Park. Look, it's the biggest test that Kildare could possibly face. The All-Ireland champions of 2024 coming to St. Conleth's Park. St. Conleth's Park could be a bit of a fortress factor to it. Like, it's a tight ground. The atmosphere that can be generated there is really, really strong. But you would be a little bit crazy to go against Clare here. I just think, like, Clare, they are just one of the best teams in Ireland. But could Kildare pull off a huge, huge win?
I think Kildare can get themselves into a position where maybe the scoreline at halftime is something like a 1-13 to 10 points or something. You know, like they'll put it up to them for 35 good minutes, you know, and Clare could be sitting back going, all right, you know, we're a little bit startled here. But then I'd say kind of similar to maybe how Tipp were like against us in the second half, they'll start to just pull away and the scoreline would probably look a bit like how you might expect in the second half. But I will say I'm excited to see how the likes of some of the players that Kildare have get on against a team like Clare. Like, I mean, Jack Sheridan for me is one I'd be looking out for very, very closely. Simon Lacey, the two Borins, Paul Dolan, these types of players, Conan Bourne as well, I should say, in the middle of the park. These are the type of players I'd like to see how they get on against a team like Clare because they're top class players. But yeah, look, realistically, Clare should win this game rather comfortably enough. Even the dog is agreeing in the background. I think Clare should win this game rather comfortably. But I'm excited to see how Kildare get on against them, and I hope the likes of Sheridan and the Bournes do well.
Yeah, I think my dog has spotted something out the back garden or something. But anyway, we'll carry on. Matthew, your game in Division 1B is the clash of Antrim and Carlow, Sunday at 1 p.m. in Dunloy. What are you expecting from this one?
To be honest, I'm expecting a comfortable win for Carlow here. I can't see Antrim winning this game. I can't see them salvaging a result out of this game. Just the negativity around Davy Fitz being in charge of Antrim. And I thought back to this, and I did have this discussion with yourself and Aaron about this, about Davy Fitz potentially coming into the Dublin job. I'm thinking, thank God for your point of view that you got Neil O'Callaghan. Because I'd imagine Davy, if he went into Dublin, he'd make it about himself. And he seems to be doing that at this present moment in time as well. And the Antrim players clearly aren't biting into these tactics at all. That was a chastening defeat against Kildare. I know Kildare are on the rise as well, but I expected that to be a tight game. But Antrim are very, very poor at this present moment in time. There was rumours that Davy would walk mid-season. I wouldn't have been shocked, to be honest, like the way Antrim are going this present moment in time. And I think Terence McNaughton made a very good point about this on Off the Ball. You can't have a fancy roof on top of a house with no foundations. You can't have Davy Fitz as manager when there's nothing in the background at Antrim, nothing happening at this present moment in time. You're relying on the older talented player. Like Sean Elliott has been almost carrying this Antrim team throughout the league campaign.
Yeah,
you can't keep relying on that each and every game. You look at Carlow, there is positive shoots. Chris Nolan, Martin Kavanagh are performing really well at this present moment in time. Kevin McDonald does as well. And I thought they performed relatively well against Wexford. I thought there was positive shoots in that game. Wexford pulled away at the end, okay, but it was a black card at the very end, and Carlow were unlucky to get that at the moment in the game. There's a lot more positivity in Carlow. Antrim, it doesn't look good on the outside, and I think Carlow could win this possibly by 10.
So it's heavy to look at. Like the reality is, I do feel for Davy a little bit because you can't tell me that he has as good a crop as Darren Gleeson had when Darren Gleeson came in. Like you lose players like Neil McManus and people like that, like who's one of the greatest players Antrim have had. You can't keep replacing those guys, especially when you do have a small panel. So I do feel for him a little bit, but Peter is saying Davey's a spent force at County, lads. Like, I think Davey is going to dig the heels in on this one because, like, I don't mean to say, but like when I was looking at this, I was going, if he loses the job here at Antrim, let's say like he's forced to walk or they fire him, where does he go? Like
Probably club level, I think.
It'd probably go club levelist. But like in terms of, will he manage a team in the Lee McCarthy Cup for the next couple of years? I could see him going to like a team in the John McDonough or a team in the Christy Ring, because clearly he loves being a coach and clearly he loves being a manager. But in terms of like the teams that are going for the Lee McCarthy Cup, I think the Dublin job has sailed. I think that's gone.
Yeah.
Clare, he's not going back there. Wexford, I don't think that's happening again. And then where else? Like Galway was always floated, but
I was thinking Liam might be upset by this suggestion, but Offaly possibly.
I've met Davey. I get along with Davey fierce well, but I don't think he'll come into Offaly either, to be honest with you. I think even with the way...
It's closer than Antrim.
Yeah, look, I think even just with the way at times he conducted himself to a degree, even in the 2 games we played against Antrim last year. Look, Davey has a lot of respect for Offaly hurling. He has said it a lot of times, and we all know that. But I don't know if the Offaly board would have him. Like if this happens to be Johnny Kelly's last season, I can't see the Offaly County board going for Davey. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe they will, but I can't see it happening.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll go to Division 2. And lads, I want your quick picks for these. So, Liam, I'll go to you first. First of all, Laois host Kerry in O'Moore Park on Saturday at 2 p.m. London host Westmeath and Voislip on Sunday at 1 p.m. And Meath host Derry in St. Lomans Park in Trim on Sunday at 1 p.m. When you're reading it there, what jumps out straight away? Obviously, the big thing is the high flyers, Laois and Kerry clashing. That's the one to look out for, really.
Yeah, I'm going to go Laois by 7 points. I think with having home advantage, they didn't get any goals the last day against Derry, but from what I heard, Sean, yeah, maybe. But from what I heard the last day against Derry, it was probably one of the worst games that was ever played. Just judging by what I've heard from some people in Laois anyway. But they got the job done. They won it. I can see them kind of bouncing back this weekend, getting a couple of goals. Tomas Keys maybe pitching in 2 or 3 maybe, and winning this game by 7 points in the end. If it was down in Kerry, it might be a different story. Westmeath, I think, should go and beat London. I think getting that first win against Meath, albeit not the most comfortable of victories, I think O'Brien as manager would have been absolutely over the moon to get it. And I think that will do them the world of good going over to London this weekend. And I'm going to back Meath to beat Derry again. Having home advantage, I think, is crucial for them. They performed relatively well against Westmeath the last day as well in Cusack Park. If this was in Derry, I'd probably be backing them, but I'm going to stick with Meath for this one.
Very good stuff. I'm going to go with Laois, Westmeath, and Derry. Aaron, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go Laois, Westmeath, and Meath. I'm going to back Meath with the home advantage.
Matthew?
Laois, London, Derry.
Good stuff. And then running through as well, we have round 4 taking place in Division 3. Donegal host Armagh in O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny. Fermanagh host Tyrone in Brewster Park on Saturday at 2 p.m. And Louth host Roscommon in Protection and Prosperity Louth Saturday at 2 p.m. Talk about that for a name. And Division 4, round 4. That's Matthew out of action for the rest of the pod now. Division 4 is round 4. Cavan host Lancashire in Breffni Park Saturday at 1 p.m. Sligo will host Warwickshire on Saturday at 1 p.m. and Monaghan will host Leitrim in Grattan Park Saturday at 2 p.m. So that is the hurling, and now we move on to the final code, Camogie. And interestingly enough, Galway Waterford has been postponed to next weekend. So we just have 2 clashes taking place in Division 1A's round 2. Matthew, I'm going to go to you first for this one. Cork hosting Antrim Saturday at 2 p.m. in MTU Cork. You will be big favourites for this one. And given last week's defeat, it's a good way to bounce back if you get over the line here.
Yeah, I think Cork should win this comfortably, to be honest with you. But the question mark from a Cork point of view is how many players from the All-Ireland final will actually be back for this game. There was 4 only played in the last game against Waterford. The context is very important there. I know Waterford won by 6 points, but only Emma Murphy, Aisling Thompson, Libby Coppinger and Amy Lee were actually playing in the All-Ireland final and against Waterford last weekend. Saoirse McCarthy wasn't there. obviously, I don't know what the situation was there. Laura Tracy was retired. Pamela and Katrina Mackey aren't committing for now in the panel. Amy O'Connor was injured. Laura Hayes was absent as well. So there was a lot of players missing the last day. But Maeve Callan and Orla Callan were on the bench. You'd imagine they'll be back into action. Saoirse McCartan possibly as well. But I'd be more interested to see the younger players from a car point of view again. I thought Niamh McNabola was very good against Waterford. I thought Millie Condon, really, really impressed. I will say this because Millie's actually from my club down in West Cork. Yeah. Look, she played very well in midfield with Aisling Thompson. Maeve Murphy did very well at cornerback as well from a car point of view, as did Dara O'Brien at centre back as well. I'd expect Claire Kingston to get a few minutes under her belt as well this weekend, considering she did very well for UCC in the Ashburn Cup, 3 Ashburn Cups in a row for her as well. It's about loading the younger talent for Ger Manley and building a squad, because obviously he's been hit with absentee after absentee in the off-season. Laura Trace is a massive loss. The backies were massive losses. So you need to build the panel now, and this is an ideal game to do so. With the greatest respect, I know Antrim have Roisin McCormack and Maeve Kelly and some very good players individually, but it looked like the game last weekend against Tipp, it looks like they've gone up to Division 1A a bit too soon, and I think Cork should win this comfortably enough.
Yeah, I think it's a clean sweep for Cork lads on this one. Liam, I'm going to throw this one to you. 2 teams that got off to a winning start in round 1 of Division 1 last weekend. Kilkenny had a very, very impressive win away to Galway, and Tipperary also had an impressive win away on the road against Antrim. They clash in St. Lachtan's this week in round 2. Who's shading this one?
Yeah, I'd say Kilkenny have been chomping to get this game since, was it last July that they met in that All-Ireland quarter-final, which for me Kilkenny still should have won, to be honest, which I still don't know how they kind of let that game slip, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But look, Tipperary had a good win the opening day, but if we're being frank and honest about it, it was probably very much expected against Antrim, with all due respect. If Tipperary can get the likes of Cueva Stakelum to play the way she did last weekend, or Eamon McGrath, then they have a huge, huge chance. But for me, I think Kilkenny having home advantage, and especially the way they got that win over Galway last weekend, because I wouldn't say they were dominant over Galway, but they seemed to be really, really having them at arm's length, up until the last couple of minutes. And I think if you give Eva Prendergast enough frees in a game, because at this time of the year, frees are very, very crucial. 7 of her points last week were, 6 of her 7 points last week were from placed balls. And if you give her any sort of free from 30, 40 yards out, then she's going to place them over the bar every day of the week. So I'm going to go with Kilkenny to edge it by 4 points. But I give Tipperary a chance, but I just think Kilkenny kind of maybe similar to maybe Cork against Tipperary in the men's. I'd say they've been chomping at this game for a while, and they'll want to get a small bit of revenge heading into the season.
Yeah, I'd be confident. I think Kilkenny will win this one. Home advantage. I think the way that they started off their league campaign like a house on fire, I'm going to go with that. Lads, any disagreements before we move to 1B?
No.
Okay, well, let's go with 1B. So, and this one, I'll get your quick picks for this. And Aaron, I'll go to you first. So we have Offaly hosting Limerick on Saturday at 2 p.m. We have Down hosting Dublin on Saturday, also at 2 p.m. And Clare hosting Wexford on Saturday at the same time.
Yeah, so I'll go with Limerick to narrowly beat Offaly. I think Dublin will be too strong for Down, and Clare Wexford's a hard one to kind of call. Like Wexford, it was a big win for them, obviously, the last day. But Clare, I was impressed with them versus Dublin. Draw.
I'm going clean sweep for the away teams. I'm going Limerick, Dublin, and Wexford. Liam?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Wexford. I'm going to go with Dublin, and I'd love to say us, but I feel like the defeat to Wexford last weekend probably didn't help, albeit having home advantage. But I think Limerick might just edge it. I'd love if the girls could win a game. It'll do them the world of confidence, but I think Limerick might just edge it.
Matthew?
Limerick, Dublin, Clare.
Straightforward. Very nice. Now, moving on, the recap is we have round 2's clashes in Division 2. We have Laois hosting Derry in Fodderbreen Park at 2 p.m. Carlow hosting Westmeath in the Netwatch Centre of Excellence at 2:30 p.m. Meath hosting Kerry in Trim at 2 p.m. And then in Division 3A, we also have a couple of clashes. Wicklow hosting Kildare at 2 p.m. on Saturday, and Roscommon hosting Armagh also at the same time on the same day. And then Division 3B, Louth host Mayo, and Donegal host Monaghan, and both of those games take place on Saturday at 2 p.m. So, guys, we have ran through everything, and I think we've done it in relatively decent time. So thank you so much to the lads for jumping on with me for another episode. Peter here saying, lads, tonight's Laker Gale profile is awfully legendary talisman Pádraig Horan. I'm going to run on and watch that on TG Car right now. And also Peter says, great preview, lad. Thanks a mil. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. We will. And we'll be back here on Sunday at 8 p.m. for another weekend review show. Thank you so much to anybody who got involved, watched, commented, everything like that. We will see you Sunday at 8 p.m. Until then, enjoy the games. Agus tóra.
Follow your instinct, baby. Follow your instinct.